Incubators. There's lots of choices here, and the price range on this is something around 100 to 200 bucks. The things that you can see on Amazon, and we'll look at some of those. And honestly, I think they're absolute junk, but we'll talk about why when we get to them. At the other end of the scale, you've got things like the Pet Brooder. They range in price from around 1,300 to pushing 2,000 bucks. And they are a much, much better unit than the cheaper ones on Amazon. They basically warm puppies up by heating the air up that the puppies are in. And there are some problems with that as far as drying the air out. So they've either got, in the case of Brooder, they've got a heating element and they have a fan and they blow air over it that goes into the cavity where the puppies are. Or they just may simply be a box with some heat lamps on it, and that's all they are. There is another kind, and by the way, we manufacture that kind, so it's a bit biased here, got to understand that. But we sell a product that we've been developing now for, 15 years. But it doesn't do any of that stuff. It has a heat plate that's under the floor. And so what it does is it gets radiant heat that comes up into the puppies, and it doesn't heat the air up and it doesn't dry the air out. And there's a lot of advantage to that. And we'll talk about that when we get to it. Let's talk about now. So I've talked a little bit about prices, ranges, 100 bucks, 2,000 bucks. There's your range. I can show you one that's about 250 bucks. It's better than any of them. We'll get to that here in a little bit. So let's now go look at these incubators and decide why they're any good or why they're not. So the first one I'm going to show you is some pictures of incubators that you can buy on Amazon. They're in this $100 to $200 range. And we'll look at those kind of briefly and talk about why we don't like them. But I'm just going to prep you up for this. All of these incubators typically have humidity sensors on. They'll give you a humidity readout. They can't adjust the humidity. So they might say the humidity is 20%, which is way too low, but they have no way of adjusting the humidity. So it's kind of worthless. It's just a little kind of gauge they put on there because it cost them $10 to put a gauge on there. But it's not effective. It doesn't do anything. So it's kind of it's saying, hey, my product doesn't work, and here's the proof it doesn't work. Thank you for buying it. Please leave us a nice review. All right, so there we go.
So here we go. All we've got is a box with no fan to circulate air and heat lamps that are controlled by a thermostat. They're either on or they're off. When they're on, they're blasting radiant energy immediately into the puppies below. The innovations they talk about are just the lamp socket. They're not even proud of what they're selling. Go look at the reviews on these things and you'll see people complain about the build quality, but more importantly, that it killed their puppies. This thing is a tragedy waiting to happen.
Okay, so you can see the problem here with these inexpensive. There's an old adage that says you get what you pay for, but it's not always true. Now let's look at the Pet Brooder. Okay, so the Pet Brooder is a really nice sleep machine, and I will talk about that as we're looking at it.
The Pet Brooder, it works by using a fan to blow air over a heater that then enters the compartment. So you've got moving parts and you've got things that can get difficult to clean. It's got lots of crevices and holes in it. It does have humidity, and I like that. It does suffer from the problem that you can still overheat puppies because it can't cool things down. But overall, I think that if you bought this, it would work well. The problem is it's not portable at all. It runs on 110 volts, so you can't put it in a car. And it is very expensive.
This is what we believe you should have. This is our incubator. It's a portable incubator. It's not forced air. It runs off either 12 volts or 120 volts. We've got two different sizes, and prices on this range from 250 to 300 bucks. It is temperature controlled, so you can set the temperature up. You can change the temperature by pressing this button, running the temperature up or down. It remembers the temperature. If it becomes unplugged, when you plug it back in, it automatically goes back to its previous set point, so you don't have to go back in and start messing around with it. I have to do it with one hand. There, plug back in. Okay, so it goes back to its original temperature. It has a vent hole, so we can make sure we've got good air circulation. It has a viewing window, so we can see puppies. There's a little light inside there. So we can see puppies at nighttime, just a little light so that we can see what's going on. So we can leave this by our bed. There is an oxygen port. If you want to run a nebulizer or oxygen, there's a little plug here that you can remove. And there's your oxygen hole, so you can put oxygen in it. That's easy to do. And the whole thing is, it's lightweight. It's not huge. I mean, it's not difficult to lift up. So it's very lightweight and practical, which means that getting in and out of your car or doors is simple to do. Let's look on the inside of this. So on the inside, there are no openings anywhere for poop and crap and hair and muck and urine to get in there. So there is nothing. This light here is buried in behind the wall. There's no opening for that. All the other units on the market, every single one of them, it's got openings all over the place. So there's places that, I mean, those cheap ones don't even have filters, but there's places that they're going to get hair and muck and poop and pathogens can all get in there and infect your puppies. This thing, you can take bleach to this thing. It's a completely plastic enclosure. There are no openings anywhere. So, right, so where's the heat? It comes up through the floor. This floor is nice and warm. The puppies lay on this floor, and that's where they get the heat from. Because of that, we are not cooking puppies with heat lamps, and we're not drying out the air. So a much better way to get heat. It's like being on a waterbed. You know, it's nice. It just feels nice. Puppies will get in there and they will just fall asleep immediately, and they won't be hardly moving. They'll just go to sleep. So a great environment. Now we've got two different sizes. I've got a bigger one here. So this is twice the physical area. This is a bigger unit. And you can have exactly the same controls on this. There's no difference on the way that it works. Close it up. You've got vent lids on it again. And you've got a digital display so you can see what the temperature is and set it. So what's the difference in between these two? Simply size. If you're going to have big dogs, American bullies, I'd get the bigger unit. If I was going to have French bulldogs, sub 30-pound mamas, I'd get the smaller unit. I've had 10 newborns inside here. Now, you couldn't get 10 puppies in here at 3 weeks old, but that's not what you're doing with this. Typically, you're only using this to transport to and from the vet or to put a puppy in here that needs some extra care, or 1 or 2 puppies, and it's fine for that. So for me, I always use a small unit. It's so much more portable and practical than a large unit. Right, so here's another huge benefit to this. Not only does it run off 110 volts, and there's a 110 volt adapter that it comes with, but it also could be plugged in your car cigarette lighter. And if I've got the adapter here, it comes with a cigarette lighter adapter. So rather than running this thing off 110, means that you can run it off 12 volts. I can put that up there. 12 volts in your car. No other units out there that are portable. They'll say they're portable, but I guess you have to run an extension cord down the road to your house to be able to make them work, because they run on 110. And they've got fans and they've got light bulbs that break, not very robust. As opposed to this jewel right here is bulletproof. You can't break it. There is nothing in here to break. You can drop this thing onto a concrete floor from waist height. You might put a little ding in a corner, maybe, but you're not going to make this thing stop working because there's no moving parts. There's a heat plate on the bottom of it, no moving parts, no fans, no light bulbs. Portable, runs on both 12 volts and 110, and costs about 1/8 of what a Pet Brooder does. And you can use this at home. We leave this plugged in 24/7. This thing sits in our kitchen, plugged in 24/7 for the first 3 weeks of puppy's life, in case we have a problem. If we do, we know we've got a safe place to put them, and it's inside this incubator. So I feel sorry for those of you who bought the Pet Brooder and spent a couple of $1,000, because you should have bought this guy right here. It saved you a ton of money, and I think it's a better product. There we go. Give you a link down below where you can find out where to buy this from. And we've got these in stock, and they can ship out typically the same day you order it.
Truly a portable, very safe incubator that runs on both 110 and 12 volts. There is no dangerous voltages inside the unit. The unit can be sanitized and cleaned very easily, and it's virtually indestructible. This will do for both traveling to and from the vet and permanently use in your house if you've got sick puppies. This is an excellent machine.